I just want to talk about it because I think
Political story. Whoa.
it's not though,
Oh.
but it is.
Okay. Austin's big story is, hey guys, what do you think about Trump's court dates being the day before Super Tuesday? Let's discuss.
No, it's about. I was just gonna ask what y'all think of the Trump mugshot, and we could kind of
You
meme
blew
on
it.
it. We can meme on it. But let's go for the pot.
All right.
Did you actually start recording? I don't see it.
Just started right now.
Yeah. Sweet. My audio levels look good. Golden.
Alex, say something.
Go Mariners.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. All right, here we go. Let's pause Austin beep, and then we'll get going. Beep. Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of Making the Call. We have wrapped up our division previews for the NFL season, and now it's time to spend a little time on college football. Ever heard of it? And I'm joined by Austin and Alex. I know week 0 is in the books, but hot take, I really don't care about week 0. Week 1 is this week, and this is kind of where I lock in. Like week 0 is all fun, you throw a game on the background, watch Notre Dame play in Ireland, sure. But now we've got a full slate of games, and this is the bread and butter. This is like, to me, week 1 is the start of the college football season. So we're going to preview all the big conferences. Austin's got some big questions for each conference. We'll talk about the preseason AP poll. We'll talk about college football playoff, Heisman picks, probably some of the realignment stuff, death to the Pac-12 and things like that. So waiting for Alex to come back. He's gone offline, and then he's come back in twice.
Oh, that's not good.
So I want to get that figured out before we keep going.
Say
Alex,
something.
Alex, you there?
Yeah, now I'm there. I wasn't hearing anything for a minute.
Yeah, I saw you came in and out twice. You good now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm just gonna. No, we'll just keep this, or I'll cut all this. I marked it down. So
You could just start it over.
we'll start it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
You weren't that far into it.
No. All right, starting over. You guys are gonna have to reload Zencaster.
Penis.
Check.
Checkers.
All right,
Here
new
we go.
recording.
The simple ones get Alex.
Yes,
Safe.
they do.
Oh no, he's safe.
I don't have it on.
Challenge and poach. Challenge it.
Dude, they don't overrule anything. It's ridiculous.
Unless it's a
Unless it's play on. Ah,
unless
that's.
it's a home plate interference or it's like catcher's interference
I want to see this again. Hold on.
or an impeding home plate or whatever they call it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. He was out. All right.
That's the only call I've seen all year.
Let's
Let's go
pause
0-0.
Austin beep and let's start it over. Yeah.
All right.
Starting over.
Beep. Welcome everyone to this week's a very, very special episode of Making the Call. Last week we concluded the division preview podcast for the NFL season, and now it's time to turn our attention to the college football season. And who better to join me than my old pal Austin and Alex? And we're going to go through previewing all 5 conferences, talking about the college football playoff, talking about the Heisman, conference realignment, RIP to the Pac-12 and all that stuff. So it's an all college football heavy podcast for this week. Austin, I'll start with you just before, because I know we've got, our big stories of the week. We're going to hit on that first, but how excited are you, Austin Young, that college football is back?
I'm incredibly pumped. I just don't think there's a sport with higher highs and lower lows in all of existence than college football. People pour their heart and soul into this season. I know that, a lot of people love college football even more than pro football just because of the raw emotion. Most of these guys aren't going to go pro, so like they leave it all out there every single day. It's just, the Cinderella stories never fail. You always got that one upset of the year that just rocks everything. The fan bases pulling crazy signs on college football game day, some legendary tweets throughout the year. There's just so much raw emotion and so much just grit and determination throughout the year. It's the greatest sport in the world. And I'm so excited it's back.
Greatest sport in the world. Alex, how excited are you that college football is back?
It's a tough follow, but I'm excited as ever. I mean, get to see all the traditions, the crowds, full slate after a crappy week 0. Let's be honest, that was a snooze fest. But I'm just ready to get rolling, ready to put some bets on the board.
Hot take.
Let's get
I think week 0 is kind of overrated.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Well,
week
yeah,
one is
it's-
week 1 is when I start caring about it.
It's meant to be like an appetizer. Like, here's 2 teams that play football.
I mean, the only take from week 0 is that USC's defense is in trouble. But we'll talk about that later.
Shocker. Yeah.
Who could have seen that coming? All right. Well, before we get into more college football, one big story of the week, something you're following. It could be sports related. It could be just anything. And Alex, we'll start with you as you're wearing, because I think I know what yours is about, as you're wearing a Mariners hat and T-shirt on the podcast.
I was prepared to go with the Bishop Sycamore documentary, which everyone should go watch. Roy Johnson's an absolute maniac, but no, I got to stick with the Mariners, man. They are still rolling. We're getting a lot of flack because our schedule is light right now, but hey, you just play who you play. Everyone plays pretty much the same teams. Julio continues to just beast it out. He's hit 3 home runs in a row now. And hold on, I got a crazy stat for you. So 35 days ago, Julio was 21st in the American League in hits, and as of yesterday, he is first. He's batting 286. Honestly, if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist, I think him and Corey Seager would be neck and neck for the MVP. So yeah, the Mariners keep rolling. Schedule's going to get a little tougher next week, starting with the Reds, I think. Yeah, the Reds, and then we go to Tampa Bay. And then we get to the end of the month, and we got the Rangers, Astros, and Rangers to finish it out. So the division battle is going to be fun.
Alex, you think 286 gets you the MVP if Shohei Ohtani doesn't exist?
I mean,
I raise you over half a point percentage.
what do you mean?
Corey Seager is.
Oh,
what's he
he's
batting at the
batting
moment?
287?
No. Austin misspoke. Raise you about 100 points. He's
100 points.
He's hitting about 347 right now.
Yeah, but like 100 less at bats,
He's about to have the qualified number of at bats.
Okay, hold on.
Who was batting like 250 a month ago, so.
I think I know, but see, that's why it belongs to Corey Seager, because
he's never come down.
I heard a stat today. I was listening to, there's like an official Texas Rangers podcast, and it's Jared Sandler and Nathaniel Lowe's on it this year.
Nice.
And it's a good listen, but
It's fun.
Jared Sandler had a stat that Corey Seager has not gone consecutive games without a hit this season. He's the only player in baseball who's done that. Like Luis Arraez, who for the Marlins, who is early on in the year he was flirting with batting 400 for the year. He's had, I think, 5 different stretches throughout this season where he's gone consecutive games without a hit, and one of them it was 3 straight games. And I think Corey Seager is like 4 points behind him in batting average. So, but this is your sports story, Alex, and it is that the Mariners are sitting alone atop the AL West. At the time of this recording, they could lose to Oakland and the Rangers could beat the Mets. We don't know the outcome yet, but
1 game lead. So anything could happen.
Yeah. All right, Austin, what's your story?
Guys, so mine's political, but it's not really political. And I'm really just fishing for your thoughts on this. So the Donald Trump mugshot came out last Thursday, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it was Thursday.
That's right.
And so the memes have been tremendous.
Absolutely.
And so when I think
Yes.
about like other iconic mugshots, like the Tiger Woods mugshot or like the Frank Sinatra mugshot, does the Donald Trump mugshot, where does it, is it going to be end up being, because of all the memes and internet culture, the greatest mugshot of all time?
It's definitely
Yeah.
top 5.
It's top 2, and it isn't 2.
It is
In terms of like cultural significance. Like he's a former president. We've never had a former president have a mugshot before.
and
like
it looks exactly how you think it would.
Yeah, it does.
The scowl, and my
Blue
favorite thing
suit,
is
red tie.
my favorite
That
thing is like
posture.
all you know these people on Facebook. All of those people on Facebook have now changed their profile picture to
What do you mean by those people?
Matt,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't
Those-
elaborate. Don't elaborate.
Yes. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Yes.
Yeah, I won't. I won't.
No.
elaborate,
You
but
can. Yeah, you can end it there.
the internet. I've just all the memes are undefeated. I know somebody sent this in the chat. Like whenever the Rangers were on their 8th game losing streak, Donald Trump with the Rangers hat on
yep.
in the chat.
Yes.
And so it's just like, what an iconic moment for American pop culture. It was a long anticipated,
Dude.
long awaited, and did not disappoint.
That mugshot is going to be on the walls of more dorm rooms than Jordan in the 90s. Like, it's just, I mean, yeah, I think it's instantly the most recognizable, significant mugshot just for all the ramifications.
What poster? So like, I gotta know. I'll tell y'all. What was like y'all's one poster on your wall, like in college? Mine was an Obama colored, like the red and blue, but it was a Harambe poster, and it said "Never forget," and I had it posted like on my door.
You know, Trent and I we weren't big on posters. We had a lot of flags in
Same.
our dorm room.
Oh, like you and Dempsey and Colt did too.
Like,
Remember that?
I brought a flag back from Ireland that it was a double size, and one, like, the left side was the American flag and the right side was the Ireland flag, and it was all in one big thing, and I had that up across my wall, and so that was. But yeah, we didn't really have posters.
Oh man, that's
Yeah, same. I didn't go to college, but I was in the Marines for a couple of years, and in the barracks, it was flags and sports jerseys, pretty much.
Sports jerseys,
Alright.
nice.
Sports jerseys,
Yeah.
nice. Well, this is a sports pod, so it's fitting.
Yes. Okay, so that's your one story.
Andrew, hit us with it, man.
Okay. I'm sticking with Alex as far as baseball, and I kind of have 2 stories. Well, it's actually kind of 3 wrapped into one. One is that the Rangers, they've got to turn this around because they've lost 9 of 10 or 8 of 10.
Well, yeah,
8 of 10 now. Yeah,
great
And
win yesterday.
they've lost
Great
9.
win yesterday.
9
It
of
was
11.
The first time that they've won a game while trailing after the 8th inning. I saw a pretty. They were 0 and 47 on the year in that department, and I saw a pretty funny tweet from Bob Sturm. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It was about the
Bonkers that it took that long.
Yeah. Can I find it? It basically was like nobody beats the Rangers 48 times in a row after the 8th inning. Nobody.
Got him.
So it was a good win on Monday night. But man, it's been a brutal last couple weeks. And this I said this was kind of multiple stories, rolled up into one. The Rangers reeling as they have, and the Mariners surging like they have. September is going to be electric. Like, not even specific to the AL West, but honestly specific to the AL West. Like, you have Houston, Seattle, and Texas that are all fighting for that division spot. And with the way the wild card is shaking out, one of those 3 teams probably is missing the playoffs. With the way it's
Especially
gonna-
when
Not
the
way
last
Blue
10
Jays are
games.
playing.
No, I
This
mean
year.
there's a chance all three could make it, but there's also a chance that 2 out of the 3 only make it. So you might be talking about, the Mariners who have had this really hot stretch, the Rangers who led for, most of the season, and then the Astros are defending world champs. One of them just could be on the outside of October looking in, which would be crazy.
Well, in 7 out of the last 10 games, the Mariners and the Rangers are just going to whoop up on each other. So, and we're going to see how that plays out.
And as Austin mentioned, the other 3 games for the Mariners in the final 10 are against Houston. So it's just the month of September. Like it's basically we're in the playoffs now, but it's not the playoffs yet. Every game is going to feel like a playoff game, especially with you've got the Astros coming into town to play the Rangers next week. You've got the 2 series against the Mariners at the end of the year. Like it's just going to be so much fun.
Nate, we need you, man.
And I will be in Seattle for that final series.
Heck yeah, man.
Nice.
Boots on the ground.
Are you going to be there for game 162?
No, I won't be there that late, but I'll be there for like the start of the series.
Making the call live.
I was gonna say you could be there in person as Max Scherzer throws a complete game and seals the division against the Mariners. I mean, that's gonna be history worth seeing, Alex. Which brings me into the final piece of the story, and it's another team in the AL West, and that is the Los Angeles Angels.
Oh,
R.I.P.
I truly feel awful for their fans. I like all 24 of them. I just feel terrible for because you have this guy in Shohei Ohtani who I'll say undisputed at this point, best player to ever play the sport. I don't really think it's a conversation anymore.
Yeah.
And you got another like top 10 guy who's played the sport.
Yeah, and Mike Trout. And every year you've had Ohtani, you've been sellers because you haven't been good. You haven't been able to, he hasn't played in the playoffs. Mike Trout hasn't played in the playoffs, famously. And finally this year they start off decent, then they kind of struggle, and they look like they're not going to be a playoff team at the deadline. And everyone's like, oh, they should, they're going to trade Ohtani. And I checked today, the Angels have the 27th or 28th ranked farm system. So let's just blow it up. Let's trade Ohtani at the deadline. Let's trade Trout in the offseason. Let's rebuild this team. Start from the ground up because clearly this team isn't going anywhere. And the GM and the owner says, no, we have Ohtani for one more year. Let's go out and let's buy. Let's get Lucas Giolito. Let's get a few bullpen guys in here. Let's add to this team and make a push. Then Ohtani tears his UCL, likely is going to need Tommy John, can still hit for the rest of this year, at least until he decides he needs surgery. That kind of ruins the entire, the rest of the season. Mike Trout's been on the IL for a long time. He comes back, plays one game, goes back out on the IL. That was the same game that Ohtani hurts his UCL. So in literally a 24-hour stretch, Ohtani tears his UCL. Mike Trout goes back on the IL. And they traded the few prospects that they had to go buy. And now the entire season has collapsed. I believe it was after they traded for Giolito, they lost like 10 straight games. Just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And now it came out today on Tuesday that they've basically, all these players they've put on waivers. They're just releasing them. Lucas Giolito, Matt Moore, former Texas Ranger, another relief pitcher, another bat. Oh, wait, I got the names right here. So Lucas Giolito, Matt Moore, Reynaldo Lopez, and outfielders Hunter Renfroe and Randall Grichuk.
Yep.
How do you go on as an Angels fan with all of that? I just talked about just this past
season. Convert to a Dodgers fan.
Follow Ohtani to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ohtani's going to be playing up the highway next year for the next, 7 to 10 years. And Dodgers blue and white.
That's going to be ridiculous. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Ohtani.
I know. It's going to happen, though.
Can I ask an Ohtani question that's probably going to be a decent discussion, then we can kick off the college football stuff?
Yeah.
Do we think he's ever going to be a full-time starter again? Because 2 Tommy John surgeries in 5 years, I mean, that's not great.
You've always had 2.
I think the next team, what they should do with him is make him your closer or late inning bullpen guy. Like, throw him out for 1-2 innings.
I don't know, man. I think he's still going to be a starter, but I think he was getting overworked. Like, if you look at his innings pitched through all the, up to the point where he got hurt, he was like leading the league or near the top of the leaderboards. Like he was going deep in these games. He was never taking a day off. They were never skipping his spot in the rotation to give him, 10 days off or whatever. Like
True.
I feel like every staff needs to do that. It's all about managing those arms, right? Because it's a long season. So I think he'll be a starter because there's obviously way more money involved if you're a starting pitcher versus if you're a closer. But it's worth a discussion because second Tommy John.
In a 5-year span.
Yeah.
But it could also just be the Angels' just awful organization running. So who knows?
Yeah, it just sucks, man, because like obviously Angels are rivals for the Rangers and the Mariners, but like Ohtani is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And like he was having a historic season in what he was doing on the mound and at the plate.
He's still raking.
Oh, he still is, but it's just like I hope we get that version of Ohtani again, because if not, we're going to be telling our kids and our grandkids about the 2023 Shohei Ohtani season and how special it was. It's going to be like that meme of the documentary where the guy's like, oh, that was special. Oh, that was special, So, all right.
Our kids, you got something to tell us, Andrew?
Speaking in the future.
All right.
Okay.
Play the college football music.
I got my hopes up for a second.
All right, college football. Let's start with the Big 12. Austin, you've got some questions about all these conferences. So I'll turn it over to you. What's your first big question about the Big 12?
So this has been a meme on Making the Call for a while. It has historically been our favorite segment. In years past. I can say years past now because we've talked about college football twice. So, guys, and this is a serious ask this time. Is Texas back? And I think the answer is a little less amusing and enjoyable than it has been in years past.
It's a tough answer because this is on paper probably the best team they've brought in the last 5 years, but you just got to see it on the field. Like, they've always had good recruits, good players, and they've just never been able to withstand the pressure. Like, they go on the road and they're playing down to their competition, and then they just end up losing. So I'm going to tentatively say yes, but I still got to see it.
I mean, here, I'll flip it to Andrew and then I'll chime in.
What is back?
Big 12 championship.
Yeah, at least
getting to the championship game or winning the championship?
Winning the Big 12 championship, I think, is officially back.
Yeah, probably like 10, 11 wins would be the floor for being back for Texas.
I'd say this is to Alex's point, this is the best. This is the best team that Sark has had since he's been there.
Period.
Top to bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Ewers, Worthy, Ford on the other side of the ball.
If they're not back this year, then
Sark's fired.
They're going to the SEC next year. This is their one chance, I think, for a little while to win a conference.
I think if Sark wins less than 10 games, he's gone.
But who would they replace him with, though? I don't think he's going to have that short of a leash.
Go find. So what? This is year 3?
Year 2, right? I thought last year was his first year.
Was last year year 2 or year 1?
I think this is year 3.
Maybe I'm just forgetting a year.
I should know this.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. He's been 2021 to present. So yeah, this will be year 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that one season.
Xavier Worthy's probably taking a step up. He was excellent last year. Ewers, hopefully he has I don't know. Hopefully
he's got to cut down on his interceptions.
He does, but the talent is there. And it's really just like, in terms of raw athleticism, I think it's Texas, and then I think it's not close.
That's what Vegas thinks. You look at Big 12 championship game winner. Texas is at -105. The next best odds is Kansas State at +750.
Really? I didn't know it was, holy shoot.
So that's what, an 800-point swing?
Yeah.
Or no, really 750 because minus 105 is even. So it's Vegas doesn't think it's close at all. I think that's disrespectful to a team like Kansas State,
Yeah.
personally.
I also wouldn't have Kansas
Kansas
State
State?
second.
Kansas
Who's their
State
quarterback?
Quarterback is
hold
Will
on.
Howard.
Yeah, Will
They
Howard.
they got gutted on the defense too. I don't think Kansas
But they still
State-
have Kansas
They still
State still has
Trayshawn Ward.
probably the best offensive line in the conference. So they've got a good
Debatable.
quarterback, and they're going to be able to protect him.
That gets you a lot in the Big 12.
Yeah, but it's
Especially
the
'cause Big
defense
12
that's the
doesn't
question
have-
this year.
But isn't that the question for about every Big 12 team?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got time to throw,
Yeah.
somebody in the Big 12 is going to be open. That's
Yeah.
They did lose.
mean, that
Deuce
was-
Vaughn too. That's not nothing.
They did. I was reading up on them. They replaced Deuce Vaughn with
Trayshawn Ward.
that's right. It was
Yeah.
I remember it was somewhat good.
Did he
but
transfer? It sounds familiar. Trayshawn Ward.
I think so.
Bio.
But yeah, I don't know. If Texas isn't back, I mean, they've got Ewers, they've got Xavier Worthy on the outside.
I
But
think he was in. For
I think we'll have a clearer answer after week 2 when they play Alabama.
Yeah, that's the
fair.
litmus test, right?
Pretty much.
that's
I mean,
fair.
do you think that is the litmus test winning against Alabama, or is it?
No, it's
Going
winning
down-
because last year they were in the game with their backup quarterback for most of the game.
And the Hudson Card transferred out, right? Where is he
Yeah,
now?
he's at Purdue.
Oh yeah, that was a fun time last year. Purdue, they're not
Yeah.
gonna. The Magic's not back. We'll get to that.
Okay,
So we're all pretty high on Texas.
Yeah,
as high as you
um,
can be. Yeah,
I hate it.
non-Texas fans.
I hate it. I really hate it. But yeah, they're back.
You should call Trent and ask him if Texas is back.
What's your next question?
So my next question is actually brought to you by Alex, and so
Yeah,
it's only fair that if we're in the Big 12 and we're talking about contenders, sorry, Andrew, we're not going to talk about Baylor with regards to Big 12 contenders.
Baylor's more of a contender than OU, but go on.
Oh, so here's Alex's question. Ask Alex: Can Brent Venables and OU rebound in their final year in the Big 12?
I honestly hope so because this schedule is somewhat of a cakewalk. We don't have to go to Kansas State on the road. We don't have to play Baylor on the road.
Don't have
which,
to play Tech.
honestly, I did want to play at least Kansas State or Baylor because we've lost to both of those teams and we're leaving now. So,
But
that's
you
just
go
gonna-
to BYU in late November. That is not nothing. Speaking from a
Eesh.
Baylor fan,
Eesh.
that's not
yeah,
nothing.
I mean, we'll get there when we get there. But I think they can bounce back. The foundation's there. The offensive line last year was a little shaky, but this year it's more like set up. I think all the guys are the starters are the starters. There's no like ors listed for those guys. Like they're ready to go. And then today, in a press conference, Brett Venables said he's going to be more hands-on the defense. Last year he was not
Good.
calling the defense, but this year he's taken over full control from Ted Roof. And it's Dylan Gabriel's last season as a QB for us. Last year in the fourth quarter, he really struggled. I think he only had all season 4 passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter, which really killed us because we had like 5 or 6 one-loss victories, and it's because we just died in the fourth quarter, couldn't do anything. So overall, I think the key is the offensive line. Dylan Gabriel playing a full good game. Like he played great in the first half, and he would just disappear when the defense would like adjust and stuff. And really, the defense just needs to be mediocre because last year they were 70th, couldn't stop the run, couldn't tackle in open space. Like that's been the problem at OU for probably 10 years now. I'm just asking for, I don't know, 40th, 30th ranked defense. Like there's a lot of young guys on there still playing with like a lot of sophomores and juniors, not that many seniors, a couple up front, but overall, I think this group is a lot better than they were last year. Brent Venables has renovated the whole team, the culture, stuff like that. So I think they can bounce back. Their win total is 9.5.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
And
that.
I think they're going to be hovering right around 9-3, 10-2. I don't know if everything goes their way, maybe 11-1. Lose
Well,
to Texas,
we
or
do have a
lose to
bet.
somebody.
So
2 beer bats, yeah.
I took the under. So
Under 9.5.
under 9.5.
Well, I'd say your one chance for that is
BYU in late November.
BYU in late
Texas.
November. They play Texas, of course.
And then it's
in the
at
Cotton
Oklahoma
Bowl.
State.
Yeah, but Oklahoma, we're going to beat Oklahoma. We beat Oklahoma State last year. We're going to beat them this year.
And at Kansas. Kansas, ask Texas how
Kansas-
hard it is to win in Kansas.
Yeah, they just got to keep their quarterback healthy, but if he's healthy, it's not going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah,
No.
so it's for y'all it's BYU, TCU, and Texas are the games you got to worry about.
We play Tech, right? That might be something to worry
I'm
No,
about.
really-
y'all don't play Tech, but I think Tech is a sleeper in this conference.
I'm really sad that
Joey
Baylor
McGuire's
and
no
OU
joke.
Baylor and OU aren't playing. That bums me out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys get that win over OU forever now, unless we meet up in the bowl game or the Big 12 championship.
Oh, that's
this
true.
year.
Okay, yeah. All right, I'm going to get that box score printed out and just put it right up on the wall behind me.
Can't wait to
I
see
love it. And just underneath it, everyone only remembers the last game. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
yes.
All right,
fans
two more things I want to hit on the Big 12. I think those were our two big questions. I do want to talk about Kansas State because they have the second best odds to win the conference. I think deservingly so. They were a good team last year. They won the Big 12 title game last year against TCU, and an electric conference title game, I might add.
I was driving home, and I had it up on my dash. Sorry, Mom. And that game was insane.
It was so much fun, and they brought back most of the team outside of like Deuce Vaughn. And we already talked about the quarterback, Will Howard. They've got a good offensive line. Like having a good offensive line is just like, I don't know. It's like having a trust fund in real life. Like it just puts you at an advantage over everyone else. It's like, or let's give another example.
We're missing somebody for
It's a
trust.
solid foundation for your house. That's exactly what an offensive line is.
Yes, exactly. So I think Kansas State deserves to be in this. And then let's talk about Baylor just a little bit. I do think Baylor's getting slept on, and the biggest reason why is because 2023 is an odd number.
Wait,
If you look at Dave Aranda, his first year as head coach was 2020, even number.
Yeah.
Team went 2-7. Next year, 2021, team goes 12-2 and wins the Big 12. Last year, 2022, odd number. Team goes 6-7, loses like 4 or 5 straight down the stretch. We're back in an odd number year, baby. 2023.
Based on one odd number previously.
Exactly.
That's your streak is one.
Well, and the fact that the even numbers haven't been good, so they're due. They just flip flop. So
I mean, it's on your offense is Shapen, Reese, probably.
Dominic Richardson, running back, transfer from Oklahoma State. They got a deep threat wide receiver, Ketron Jackson from Arkansas. They got tight end Jake Roberts from UNT. So they've given Shapen weapons. So Shapen is running out of excuses. I'm a well documented, not a Shapen believer. I just
Kellen Mond.
except I haven't believed in him. You thought Kellen Mond was second coming.
No. I thought he was going to be good.
Year.
Year 3, year 4 is when I was like, this is toilet.
I'm not a believer in Shapen. I like I'm interested in the backup quarterback right now, mainly because his last name is Robertson, Sawyer Robertson, 6'4", 220, sophomore, so redshirt sophomore. And if Shapen can't get it done, I think they pull the switch pretty soon because, like I said, they've given him more weapons. They've got Reese and Richardson as the running backs. They've got more weapons on the outside. I think they're going to be decent. I think it's, they weren't ranked in the AP preseason poll, which I think, probably has to do with the fact that they lost, 5 or 6 straight games down the stretch. But they're going to have a good litmus test because week 2, they host Utah.
Oh,
Saturday, September 9th, hosting Utah, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
11
then-
a.m. That's lame.
And then 2 weeks later, they play Texas. So
Ooh.
we'll know by that week 4 game against Texas whether or not Baylor is sneaky right? Or if it's just, the odd even year thing is a hoax. So I'm intrigued by what Aranda could do, because I do think he is a good coach.
I agree. He's a good coach.
You want to move on to the Big Ten?
Yeah.
What's your big question?
Gosh, so I think the Big Ten is going to be electric this year. I think there's so many good stories coming out of the Big Ten. If you look at Ohio State, Michigan coming in on a 2-year win streak against Ohio State. Ryan Day might be on the hot seat, if this year doesn't go well. You look at teams like, Penn State. You look at, maybe some sleepers like Illinois, things like that. I really want to dig into this because, Harbaugh is suspended for what, 3 games, 4 games, 6 games? I don't know.
Yeah, self-imposed.
Self-imposed. So
It's 3 games. Yeah.
It's 3 games. Okay, yeah. So I look at the schedule. That's not that big of a difference for me.
No.
It doesn't move the needle at all. But so is this finally Michigan's year? They've been trending up the past 2, making their first and second college football playoff appearances. But when I look at this team, so first of all, most of the team is back, which if you come back with college football playoff experience, that's huge. You know what it feels like to play in big games. A lot of people are predicting a J.J. McCarthy coming out party. You saw him start to feel more comfortable throwing the football later in the season. You've got Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum as your duo running the ball. You've got, I think almost all of their defense returned, and that defense was stellar last year, except for the TCU game.
Except for, the playoffs, yeah.
The playoffs.
most
except
Just
for the playoffs.
overlook that. No big deal.
So except for the playoffs. They were good. But, maybe they were young or whatever. So is this, because Michigan has been famous for either, in past seasons, that one loss, like that Appalachian State type loss, that just completely wrecks everything. They haven't had it the past couple of years. And so, but they've choked in the playoffs. So, this is the best team Harbaugh has had.
Yeah.
So, can they get it done?
I honestly don't think this should even be a question. I think there should be an expectation that this is Michigan's year. They brought everyone back. They went 12-0 in the regular season. Did they go 13-0? They won. They went 13-0 before they lost to TCU. So they brought everyone back. It's sort of a revenge season type factor. J.J. McCarthy just has to step up a little bit, but it's a Michigan quarterback. They're not going to ask him to be like a Caleb Williams type quarterback where he's going to throw 40 to 50 times a game. The defense is solid. Blake Corum's probably the best running back in the league. They always have a good offensive line, good defensive line. All the pieces are there. The only game they're really going to have to worry about is probably Penn State and Ohio State, like always. So
They got Ohio State at home, too, to end the season, which is always good.
that helps. But, yeah, I think everything is set up for them. The only thing that's going to stop them is Michigan.
That last point you just said, Alex, is the biggest thing. The only thing that's going to stop them is Michigan.
Which, yeah, but they didn't stop themselves until the playoff last year. I think these guys are a little bit different than the guys who lost to Appalachian State or the guys who lost to Penn State a couple years ago or something like that. I think they're built just a tad bit different.
My only thing about that is with the current college football setup, and I know it's going to change a little bit once we get to the 12-team format, but right now with the 4-team format, you have to be pretty much perfect to make the playoffs. Unless you're a proven team like a Georgia or an Alabama, then you could suffer kind of a stupid loss and you can still get in.
You don't think 2 straight
Michigan's a
college football
proven
playoffs
team.
is a proven team?
They can still get in at 11-1, 12-1.
I think
I think 11-1 with or 12-1 with a Big Ten championship gets you.
Ohio State and Michigan can definitely still get in with 1 loss.
But okay, here's my biggest thing is that you look at the Big Ten and go look at the other side of the conference where you've got Nebraska and Wisconsin, where you've got Matt Rule and Luke Fickell that are now coaching those programs. It's no longer a cakewalk for whoever wins the East in that Big Ten title game. And so you
Their
look
first year though for both of those guys, like they still got some culture readjustments to do, especially Matt Rule.
yeah, but
Nebraska's sort of a train
who are
wreck
we
right
getting?
now.
Who are we getting in that on that side of the conference and the championship in the years past? It was pretty much Iowa. So
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
so I'll bet on a Luke Fickell or a Matt Rule led team in Nebraska and Wisconsin to be a more formidable opponent in that championship. And so if I look at Michigan, like they gotta beat Ohio State and they gotta beat Penn State.
I think Illinois is sneaky out of the West, by the way, too,
Okay.
this year.
So they got to get through both Penn State and Ohio State, with which we expect both of those teams to be good. And we know how hard it is for Michigan. Like if Michigan were to beat Ohio State again, like
Ryan
that's
Day's gone.
like we're going to be writing that in history books because that doesn't happen. So let's say Michigan does that, or let's say I don't know, man. I just think like it's way more likely Michigan at the end of conference championship game, Michigan's got 2 losses if they get to the title game versus them, having 0 or 1. And that's assuming that Michigan doesn't have a screw up against a lesser opponent like they've had in years
Yeah, like
past.
Michigan State or Purdue,
Which
Yeah.
most of the teams who don't have those screw ups against like a team that they should walk right over is like Alabama and Georgia, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Like every other team, every now and then they run into that, and Michigan's been more susceptible to that than ever in the Harbaugh
Yeah,
era.
but not the past couple of years.
So I'm saying they're due.
So they do. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think that this is the best. I think this is the best team to come out of the Big Ten period in the past 5 years. Probably.
my smell test, I don't know. The fact that we're so high on Michigan and Texas shows me that something's up. Like one of these teams is going to be a disappointment.
I've always liked Michigan because my dad's from Michigan, so I've always
Same.
rooted for them.
But they're like the Texas of the North. Like they've got this
I
big
think-
historic brand,
They've
and
been
for
a
the
little
most
bit more
part, they're
relevant than Texas the last 20
they
years.
have. No, I mean Texas has been basically Colorado the last 15 years, but
Shut up, Ron.
I just think that they get overrated because it's Michigan. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at the roster. I'm looking at the schedule. Who's quarterback at Ohio State? Like, how is the post? Because C.J. Stroud was an established starter, for more than 1 year.
All you need is someone
So-
who can throw jump balls to Marvin Harrison Jr. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's accurate.
Dude's
But-
ridiculous.
So, the biggest threat to Michigan, besides Michigan, is it Ohio State or is it a team like Penn State? Is it?
I don't.
'Cause I think Penn State, as good as Michigan's defense is, I think Penn State might have the best defense. And
Who's
the
their quarterback? Because outside of Ohio State, I don't know too much about the rest of the Big Ten.
I know it's a new one. Shoot.
Quarterback for Penn State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I go to their roster on ESPN and they've got 5 quarterbacks. So just take your pick.
Who's got the best name?
Oh, they haven't named one yet.
Okay.
Ooh. So yeah, they're just gonna be right in their defense. It's probably
guy
still
is
Ohio State.
Drew Aller is probably whoever that is. Jackson Smolik. I've heard that he was a highly touted.
I
recruit.
think it's probably
funny
still
name.
Ohio State.
You think so?
I think so.
Austin, give me a quick reason why you think Illinois is sort of a sleeper. What do you like about them?
So if I go, let me go to my notes. So you've got, shoot, you asked me on the spot. So their defensive line is going to be pretty stout this year. You look at guys like Jer'Zhan Newton coming in. I think there's going to be a lot of parity in the Western Division.
Yeah,
Andrew
that's
was
true. They're on
talking
the good
about.
side.
I had a note and I can't find it. Hold on.
We can circle back to it.
We can circle back to it. Let me get.
But it's Big Ten. It's Michigan, and it's figuring out who can play spoil to them, basically.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the SEC. Austin, your big question on this is this, and I'm looking at the notes because I want your take on this first, because I was kind of surprised when I looked at the doc that you so beautifully prepared, and this was your question. Is this the weakest Georgia has been in 3 years?
Yeah. So like you just look at what they lost on the defensive side of the ball alone, and then your extremely established starter and Stetson Bennett. And I don't even think it's because, Georgia has been able to recruit, year after year after year, but like these established staples are gone. So like,
Yeah, but
it could be like an A&M situation.
Hasn't that
last
happened the
year.
last 3 years though?
they're just reloading with all 5 stars.
Yeah.
Like they have a
All
good
five-
defense, they all get drafted by the Eagles, and then they have another good defense, and then they all get drafted by the Eagles. Like that's been the game plan the last 3 years.
Are you suggesting that the Eagles are making good draft picks?
No, I'm just saying they're drafting Georgia players, not saying they're going to be impactful in the NFL.
I'm not saying like this is a weak Georgia team, but I'm just saying if you look at who's quarterback?
Carson Beck, dude with the most punchable face in college football.
Oh yeah, you sent that guy a while back.
Their defense is still going to be stout. It's Georgia.
It is still going to be stout. So like
think
this is what I kind of wanted to talk more about my bonus question, which was the other one.
Okay,
Is
go ahead.
I do think it's dumb. Like looking back at it, like I wrote that down on a flippant thing. So you
Give it
look
to
at
us.
is the Bama reign of terror over? So
No.
like
Next
I
question.
think it's waning.
I think so.
This is
You
probably the weakest team he's had since he
right.
first
So here's my
arrived.
reason. So like he's lost coordinator. This is the 5th time in Nick Saban's tenure that he's fielded a team with new coordinators on both sides of the ball. So none of the other 4 teams that he's done that with have won the national championship. You have to replace a Heisman winner and Bryce Young. You have to replace Will Anderson Jr. And yet everybody is still so high on Alabama. I think they're talented, but
It's Alabama. Of
But
course,
how
people are
much-
still going to be high on
yeah,
them.
but like how much of it is just blind faith in Nick Saban?
Is that
Well,
a
I mean,
bad
he's
thing?
earned it.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, but like, so I mean, the real thing. So yeah, none of the
Also,
other
they're
4
they're 4th in the preseason poll, so it's not like they're just penciling them in as number 1.
right. So also, but like, you got to look at the rise of LSU in the West too. So I don't know if it's like because you knew Alabama was coming out of the West every season, and
Not with Joe Burrow. No.
I mean not with Joe Burrow, but I think you're starting to see a little bit more parity in the Western Conference, and so yeah, I think it is waning a little bit.
I think, I don't know. I would need Alabama to go
3 losses.
like
Lose to
no.
Texas
I
week
would
2.
need them to have, 3 losses. I would say they need multiple years of 3 to 4 losses.
Okay.
I think 10-2 at Alabama is a failure, though. Like that's
According
Agreed,
to
but I'm
Saban,
not.
it
But
is.
but 10-2 is not going to have me declaring that Saban's reign of terror is over.
true, but if he keeps going like 10-2, 9-3, he might eventually think about
Saban's
retiring.
reign of terror is more challenged now, I think, than
That's
it's ever
fair.
been.
It's more challenged, but they're going to be good enough to where they're going to be in the conversation for the SEC championship game. And if that's the case, then I like my chances with Saban. Is that crazy?
No, I just they were so good, and like so you lost Jahmyr Gibbs. You lost.
Okay, don't come telling me that the Alabama losing a running back.
No, but you lost. You don't. They're not returning any of their starters.
running back.
They go running backs. They go
quarterback,
they
running
grow them
back,
on
or wide
trees.
receiver. They're all gone.
I
And
think
they
their
replace
biggest
them
loss.
every year.
Yeah, I know, but there's a difference between like replacing a star with like Mac
Go
Jones.
look in the
and
NFL.
replacing a star
Go look in the
with-
NFL right now and how
Bryce Young.
many starting wide receiver, running backs, or quarterbacks went from Alabama.
I mean, that's the NFL. They're all very good. This is what I'm saying. But like, obviously, there's a difference between Bryce Young and like Mac Jones when it comes to the next level. I think.
I think they are going to have to adjust, like back to
and it's a
the-
new system.
Yeah,
Again,
they're going to have to go back to run-heavy offense and lean on their defense because they lost their best quarterback probably of all time in Bryce Young. So
yeah.
that's going to be a big adjustment, but, it's Alabama still, like Andrew said. I
I
think they
mean,
could
yeah,
probably adjust pretty easily.
yeah. I mean, you look at. I mean, Alabama sucked for 3.5 quarters against Texas last year, and then Bryce Young just goes and makes it look easy.
Yep. That's what he
You
did.
can't tell me that any quarterback at Alabama could go and do that.
No, and who is their quarterback?
Oh, I know the name. Oh, shoot. I was looking at it today.
Is he freshman,
Jalen
sophomore?
Jalen
Jalen
Milroe.
Milroe, redshirt sophomore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know, man. It's still Bama. Like they're gonna be good.
Maybe it's some Aggie bias
It is.
coming in, but I just and I'm not even saying A&M is going to be the challenger, even though Zach Calzada whooped him, not whooped him, but Zach,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it only
any
came down to
other-
like the third overtime.
Besides the big three, probably
Scoreboard.
Bama, LSU, and Georgia, Austin, do you have like any other sleepers out there in the SEC?
So don't hate me. This is
Don't say A&M. If you say
Hear me
A&M, we're
out.
moving on to the next conference.
hear me out.
It's South Carolina.
I'm saying that no, I think South Carolina's overhyped. If the only other team, so like the Mississippi schools are not going to be.
What about
formidable this
Tennessee?
year.
No.
Eh,
I mean,
They're ranked
what's his
12th.
name? He throws a great ball, but
no,
other
what's
than
his-
that,
I have it right here. Hold
isn't
on.
it? Is it? No, it's not Joe Mixon. What? Hendon Hooker? No,
Joe Mixon?
No, he's on the Lions now.
Joe Milton.
is it Hendon?
Joe
It
Milton.
was Joe. There we go.
Joe
it was
Milton
Joe.
went 3. He went 3-1 as a starter last year.
We're a sports podcast.
Yeah. They lost Jalen Hyatt, but they got this guy named Brew McCoy. So I think the worst thing. So you look at Tennessee, their defense was lacking last year, especially. They gave up a lot of big plays.
They're like the Baylor of the SEC, like the Art Briles Baylor.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean,
Yeah,
High
they'll be a lot
flying
of games.
offense.
subpar defense.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I have A&M potentially not like I'm not saying. I mean, this is like you said sleeper pick. So obviously there's the potential for like I think they're like a 7-5, 8-4 team. Realistically, that's what I'm putting them at. Okay, but
They're over under 7.5.
don't know. Actually, I haven't looked.
7.5.
So
sounds
say what you want about Petrino, but if you look at Petrino like with Mallet at Arkansas, and his offenses have been stellar, and Wegman is an athletic young quarterback who can get the ball out fast and get the ball out accurate. You've got Anaya Smith coming back. I think that A&M could have one of the best wide receiver trios in the SEC because you've got Anaya Smith, just pure athlete coming back, Evan Stewart coming back in year 2, and then you've got Moose Muhammad for deep threats. I mean, those 3 guys and games where, Anaya Smith was hurt. Those 2 guys with Wegman at quarterback 8 last year, including an upset over LSU. The offensive line is not going to be as bad as it was last year because it's older.
yeah.
And
'Cause
they're
it's
loaded.
older.
They're older. But so they're loaded with 4 and 5-star quarterbacks. And so the defense is, I don't think the offense is going to be the problem. That's what I'm saying. I think the defense, we couldn't get to the quarterback last year, and that killed us. And so if just A&M can figure out a way to move the ball more than they did last year, and I think they will, I think they are a sleeper just because, I mean, it's going to be one of those, if the defense can just be average, I think they're going to keep games close just because of the pure athleticism that they have on the offensive side of the ball. So I think ceiling is probably 9 wins. But, and I sent that article to you about, here's why Connor Wegman.
I did not read it.
I did not either.
Full transparency.
I did not. I did not. I read it,
No,
but I
yeah.
don't put any stock. He's not going to win the Heisman. But they are the kind of team that could give other teams problems because I think last year they were too young, they were inexperienced, Jimbo's a terrible play caller. Petrino coming in. There's no
Still
denying
calling
his
plays?
genius. So
Is Jimbo still calling plays, or do you pass
I
that
think
on?
I think I think Petrino was calling plays in practice, but I wasn't sure. But I know they're using
All
a lot
right,
of
all
Petrino's
right.
schemes.
Wrap up the A&M talk. This is getting out of hand.
9-3.
9-3. Okay, let's go to the
Alright.
Pac-12.
Rip.
I think in the
R.I.P.
spirit of us talking about the Pac-12, we should just
Yes.
play some music.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've gathered here today
The
to mourn
Pac-12.
the loss. A terrible loss.
I'm honest. Like, let's take the time now to talk about it. I hate the conference realignment crap.
It's
Yeah.
ruining the sport.
The Pac-12 did this to themselves. Like
They did, but Pac-12 fans did not do this to themselves, and they're the ones who are going to pay for it.
yeah.
Like, whenever we started off this podcast, and I asked both of you, I started with Austin about, how excited you are. And he was going on and on about, college football, it has all these traditions and just like the highs and the lows, and, everyone gets so excited for every game. And like, part of me couldn't help but just like get bummed out listening to that, because a lot of that's going away. Like the tradition of these rivalries of like Baylor's not going to play OU probably ever again, outside of like maybe a special occasion every now and then. Like all these rivalries are not going to happen. Oregon's not going to play Oregon State. Washington's not going to play Washington State. Like you're not going to have USC versus Stanford. Like
OU versus Oklahoma State. It's not Pac-12, but still.
OU versus Oklahoma State. It's still a part of this mess. And I know it's all about money, but I thought the pandemic showed us that money's not everything.
Preach, Andrew. Come on.
There are other things in life, like spending time with family, doing things that make you happy, and just thinking about the bigger picture in life. And I'm sorry, but like an Oregon versus USC game on a Saturday afternoon, it's
Or,
not
like,
gonna.
at 9:00
Yeah,
just to cap the whole weekend.
it's not just gonna automatically make these fans who don't care about college football care about it. Like, the intrigue of college football is you have all these people that went to these colleges, or their parents went to these colleges, or their grandparents went to these colleges, and you have this regional appeal, and that's all going away.
And it is entrenched in the fabric of the community that these schools are in.
They're trying to make college football the NFL when we already have the NFL. And it bums me out because now not just college football is getting affected, college basketball is getting affected, college baseball is getting affected. You're gonna have these swimmers on USC who are gonna be having to take a coach flight all the way to Rutgers
Yeah, that's
when they have a physics paper due in 2 days. Because outside of football players, most of these student athletes still go to class. And we're doing this so that the presidents of these universities, the million strength and conditioning coaches for all these football programs, can eat at a nicer steakhouse on a Saturday night. And that bums me out.
Don't bring the strength and conditioning coaches into this. Those guys are the backbones. But continue.
Which ones? The first 30 or the next 60?
I don't know, man.
It just, I'm sorry. I went on a rant there, and
I'm emotional.
it feels like college football is like it's going to become less interesting for so many people, and that bums me out.
Hey, A&M gets to play UT again. That's the only silver lining for me.
It's the only one.
Lone Star Showdown is back.
And
baby.
if they, but
Games
if
on
I'll tell you
Saturday
what,
for me, I'm gonna watch.
I'll tell you what, if they don't make that UT A&M game on Thanksgiving again,
Oh, they better.
I lived for the one in every 5 times that would be while I was alive. I lived for those.
So, anyways, the Pac-12.
Yeah, it's like, so it's USC and then who? Like, who realistically? I think Washington's better than Utah.
That too, yeah. Penix Jr.
Mm-hmm.
The only question with Washington is they pretty much reloaded on their offensive line.
Right. And
I'll tell you what, though. I think USC is going to be a disappointment.
Me
And
too.
the reason why is I think
elaborate.
there are all these conferences, all these programs that in their mind they blame two teams for the death of the Pac-12. And it's USC and UCLA.
It is.
So if you want to give these guys some extra motivation to get up on a Saturday to go play Caleb Williams, spoil his, repeat Heisman campaign. Oh, and by the way, he's killing your conference. Like, you're a kid who grew up in Northern Washington and went to Washington because your parents went to Washington, and now your whole college, plan is all thrown out of whack. I think USC probably loses, let's say, 3 games this year.
Bold.
Washington.
There's
Utah.
gonna be a
They're
team
gonna
that
lose to Notre
surprises
Dame.
you.
Notre
What?
Dame has a real quarterback. Watch out. They're going to lose to Notre Dame.
I think they're
That
going to
would-
be the disappointment.
So who do you think wins the Pac-12?
Probably Utah.
I am.
Utah or Oregon?
Guys, I just don't see. I think if it's not USC, I think it's Washington.
Maybe. I don't think it'll be USC though.
You look at Penix, you look at Braylon Tice rushing the quarterback, led the country in quarterback pressures last year, coming off beating Texas in the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
They sling the ball a ton, and they actually kind of they've got the run defense to back it up. Their weakness is going to be in the passing game. So Caleb Williams could light them up potentially. But
Yeah, he's
You know,
going to
they
light up
haven't-
anybody he plays. It's just they have no defense to stop anybody.
he
so.
is. And so, yeah, I think that it's Washington next. I mean, Utah, yeah. I mean, Cam Rising's back, right?
Yeah.
The offense, I think, how many they returned?
Mostly everybody, not their
Yeah,
tight ends.
like
The
all
tight ends
their-
are gone.
I think they returned like 8 starters, is something that I read when previewing the pod or prepping for the pod. So yeah, I mean Utah obviously, and their defense was stellar last year.
But it's also Bo Nix's last season. He came back
I
for
feel
this.
like Bo Nix has been in college longer than Stetson Bennett.
I mean, it's his 6th year, so pretty
Yeah.
close.
It's insane. I
But
remember him at
last
Auburn.
year he was good until he got banged up. So I mean, it's his last hurrah, and that's always a factor for these long tenured college football quarterbacks. And Oregon's always got good recruits and good players around them. They have a great NLI system. Ooh, I didn't say that.
NIL.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I know what you meant.
But yeah,
Who's coach over there again?
In Oregon.
that's the dude from Georgia. The old
Oh yeah, the old coordinator.
I can't remember his name.
All right. Let's do the final conference. Then we'll take an ad break, and then we'll finish up the podcast. ACC. We can make this quick. Does anyone care about the conference?
No,
It's probably
think it's- I
Clemson
mean, so
or
it's-
Florida State, I guess.
Clemson, Florida State. That's it.
I think the only intrigue is waiting to see what conference they join as the next moves in conference realignment. So
And then Drake May, he's a good guy to watch, but
that's true.
North Carolina has no defense, so I don't think they're going to be great.
Yeah. All right. We got a few other things planned for our college football megapod, but before we get into that, got to tell you about our good friends over at Liquid IV. And fully transparent right now. I had some Liquid IV this morning.
I did
I
too.
had a headache last night, carried its way all through the night, had a hard time sleeping, woke up still with a headache. And I
He
was
had a
like,
headache.
I did. I didn't drink last night. But I had a headache, and I was like, you know what? Liquid IV usually helps. I'm probably not hydrated enough, so I had a Liquid IV, drank it on my way to work. By the time I got out of my car at work, headache was completely gone. So, and not just me. I was talking to my wife the other day, and she said that she has been drinking the Liquid IV whenever she has a headache because she finds that it goes away pretty much instantly. So If you have headaches from time to time, it's probably because you're not hydrated. And the best way to get hydrated is with Liquid IV. Hydrates you twice as fast as water alone, has 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. And guess what? You can go try Liquid IV today and get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MTC at checkout. That's 20% off anything and everything you order. It could be the acai berry. It could be the fruit punch. It could be the sugar-free white peach, the sugar-free lemon lime. Could
The
be
kids stuff.
the new kids lines that they just launched. If you have kids, they have a jumbo pack now to where you can get the regular adult and the kids all in one order. Yeah. Austin's eyes just got super wide. He's going to go check that out.
What?
Go try Liquid IV.
Yeah,
go try
baby.
Liquid IV. Use code MTC at checkout. 20% off at liquidiv.com. All right. We got a few more things we want to hit on. Oh, go ahead.
I need to go get a charger.
Okay. Keep going.
All right, quick break.
Ding. We back.
Wow. So Scott Lucas just posted a video of Wyatt Langford. And
Kid's
First-
a stud.
first pitch of the at bat,
Oh, Rangers.
kid throws him just a flat fastball, middle, right down the pipe. Just hits a line drive home run to left field. Just a piss rocket. All right.
He's up next year, right?
He'll be in probably Double A next year to start, and then we'll see how he does. So
The Carter train's about to come to town.
yeah, it is, baby.
I'm
Yeah,
ready.
next year.
All right, let's pause Austin Beep and let's keep going. Preseason AP poll. We talked about a lot of these teams already. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it. Any other notes that you have on the top 25 that came out? Any team that's too high or too low? I, for one, was a little sad. Baylor wasn't in the top 25, but it's okay. We perform better when people are doubting us, you know? So, I don't know. What did you all have on the top 25 that came out?
Yeah, I think I'm not buying the ACC hype.
Yeah, Florida State is pretty high up there for some reason. I mean, they have a good quarterback, but they got to prove it, man. They're sort of like Texas.
Clemson's got problems.
Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State 8, Clemson 9. That's a little
that's-
surprising.
2 ACC teams in the top 25. I don't know. I'd move Washington, and honestly, I'd put, either Texas or Tennessee up there above them too. Probably. Alex is high on Notre Dame.
I am.
Can you tell us why?
Because did you watch any of that game last
I
week?
watched the first 3 touchdowns, and then
I think
turned it off.
Sam Hartman is pretty much brain fart. Who was the quarterback from Georgia last year?
Stetson
Stetson.
Bennett.
I don't know why that left my brain, but Sam Hartman, he's another 6-year starter guy, perfect pocket passer type, which Notre Dame's really not had in a while. Like they've had sort of the plug and play quarterback, like hand it off and stuff like that, but they also have a great running back, so he's sort of protected there. But Sam Hartman, he's a ACC darling from Wake Forest, one of the better quarterbacks come out of that conference, transferring for his last year, his COVID year. He's going to throw it like 40, 50 times. He's not going to make many mistakes for you. Like, I think he's honestly not just going to be a great quarterback for them, but maybe a sneaky Heisman candidate. If Notre
Sneaky.
Dame wins like 11 games, 10-2, something like that, he will be a finalist because I think he's going to be the reason why.
I do,
Interesting.
as much as I hate Notre Dame, I really do like Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, they
The
went
coach?
9-4 last year.
Yeah, the coach. Coming out of Ohio State, and then they had the brutal game to start the year last year. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just like the way he speaks, like the way he runs his program. So
Yeah, and they have the schedule to be in the conversation the whole time. They play Ohio State, USC. I'm forgetting one more, but they have some pretty marquee games coming up relatively soon because the USC game's like week 4, I
you
believe.
mean to tell me that Navy isn't marquee?
No, that was.
They play Clemson on November 4th. That's
mean,
the other one.
Navy doesn't understand how to throw a forward pass, so that was just a cake, pretty much a preseason game for them, and
Yep.
they did what
Week
they
0, baby. Yeah,
They
Clemson's
messed
the other
around with their
one.
food.
Yeah.
Clemson, there it is. Yeah.
All right.
I was a
Anything?
little.
Oh yeah,
I was
go
a little
ahead.
surprised. I was a little surprised to see the Aggies in the top 25 after just the piss poor performance last year.
They're like 24, right?
They're 23, which
Okay.
I think is appropriate.
Yeah, just throw in an SEC team at the end. It's the preseason poll.
Yeah, I mean you got Ole Miss 22, 23, Oklahoma at 20. How are you feeling about that, Alex?
Pretty much the same thing. It's like we probably don't deserve to be in the top 25, but we have all the high recruits and stuff like that. Like maybe there's gonna be a bounce back. Who else are you gonna? It's the preseason poll. Don't
Right.
read much into any of the last. Like outside of the top 5, I really don't read into much of that right now.
So, what teams? This is an intriguing question. So, what teams outside of the top 10 do y'all think crack the top 10 by the end of the year?
Ooh, good question.
I think I
Ooh.
got Texas in the top 10.
Go Notre Dame, I guess.
Utah
Utah.
Yeah.
and
Oregon
Kansas
if
State.
Oregon if Steph works out for them.
You guys want to build a top 10 real quick?
Like the final top 10, you mean?
Yeah, let's build our final top 10. Just for fun.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that.
It's a lot.
let's just do our draft. That'll
Yeah,
kind of give
good
us
job.
like the top 12 at least.
That
you know?
will. This is true.
Let's
This
do
is
that.
true.
All right, let's do
Exercise,
we're going to draft our 4 college football playoff teams. So we'll do 12 teams total. And we'll go with how many games did OU win last year?
6.
Okay, how many games did A&M win last year?
5.
And
Okay.
then Baylor won 6.
Baylor won 6. Okay, so
I picked third.
Austin goes first.
Oh wait, I go first. Yes, this is true.
Alex goes second because he lost the OU bet, and I'll go last.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So are you keeping track of this?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to share your screen just so I don't
Okay.
I don't goof this.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hold on. For our YouTube listeners,
Oh yes.
we'll go. Here we
4
go.
rounds, right?
Yep.
4 rounds, baby. All right. Snake, right?
That's the way we do drafts.
Snake, baby. I'm a snake. I'm a little snake. All right. I was high on him the whole pod. I'm taking Michigan number 1.
Wow.
This is the year. This is J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, that defense, everyone coming back. Ohio State 3-peat, Big Ten championship. This is it. And so I'm taking Michigan with the shocking first overall pick.
Pretty shocking, yes. So this makes my pick pretty easy. Give me the Dogs. We're reloading, and it's Georgia.
Dogs.
They might not make it back to the national championship game, but they're going to walk into the college football playoff this year, like they've done the last 3 years, pretty much.
All right. So we got Michigan and then Georgia.
Oh, yeah, important distinction. We're just drafting playoff teams. Did we distinct that?
Yeah, playoff teams.
Yeah.
Well, this makes my job pretty easy. I get the turn, and I'll go with Alabama because everyone is too far down on them, and it's the Godfather quote. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. So I'm going Alabama.
I've never seen The Godfather.
What?
Highly recommend it.
I think it's just like
It
don't know,
is
I never-
long.
like the
long
only
movie.
really mobster movie I've seen is The Untouchables. Like I don't think I ever really had like a mobster stage.
You haven't even seen Goodfellas either?
No.
Oh man,
Okay.
I
you
know,
gotta
like,
you gotta watch the Godfather. You gotta watch
I'm
Godfather
gonna
1
make
and
I'm
Godfather
gonna make
2,
him an offer camera.
You don't need to watch the
I
third
know.
Godfather,
and then watch Goodfellas, and then start The Sopranos.
Okay.
and then you'll just be speaking Italian pretty much.
All right,
It's
so
me, Austin.
I'll go Alabama, and then I'll also go Texas.
Whoa.
Ooh, whoa.
I'm going with value, man. I mean, someone from the Big 12, I think there's a chance.
He believes in Michigan then if he picks Texas.
Okay, you went Texas. I'll go with the Huskies. Why not? Michael Penix Jr. last season in college football led college football last year in passing, so let's just repeat that. Keep it rolling with the Huskies.
Oh gosh. Okay. I think that LSU could go undefeated in the regular season and then like lose to Georgia and like the championship game and still get. So I'm gonna take the Tigers at 6.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
All right, so now you're at the turn.
And all right, yeah, give me the Buckeyes.
Okay.
Just because Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to be in the Heisman conversation, in my opinion. So
Back to you, Alex.
Sort of tough. Just give me Alabama. I don't like.
I already
putting
took
two-
him. I already took him.
it took him
Oh,
3.
man.
I took Alabama and Texas.
Brain fart. Okay, give me Notre Dame. Why not?
Oh, Notre Dame.
Ew.
Everything works out for them. Sam Hartman, magical season, makes it as a Heisman finalist. Maybe he wins it, maybe he doesn't. But give me Notre Dame.
Wow. Okay, so I'll make my final 2 picks. And I don't like picking this, but I feel like it's just based on the value on the board. I got to go with USC.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
I don't like it, but I feel like I need to. And then final team to make the playoffs of the teams that are still left. It's not going to be an ACC team. So, give me Penn State. Yeah, we'll go Penn State. All right, back to you, Alex. Your final pick.
All right, straight homer pick. Out Oklahoma. We go 11-1, win the Big 12 championship. Go 12-1. Get in there at number 4. Give it to me.
Austin's going to say Aggies.
No. As badly as I want to, I already got crucified for saying A&M was a sleeper once. So give me Kansas State. On the off chance that
I like it.
yeah, give me K-State. There's a path for a Big 12 championship there.
We should
So-
have like a point system, like to track this. So like if our first pick makes the playoffs, it's like 1 point, and then 2 points for the second round, and so on and so forth.
lowest point wins.
Because like if one of us picked a playoff team with like our 4th pick, that should be worth more than like,
Or 4 points.
Georgia or Michigan or Alabama. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Winner gets a
Sure.
steak dinner. I'm just kidding.
Winner gets 3 beer bets.
3 beers.
Whoa, that's you're not driving home.
All
Emma
right.
picked one up today. She was like, "What's this?" I was like, "It's a bat, sweetie."
All right. A few more things to wrap up this podcast. Heisman pick. Who do y'all have?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams. I mean,
What are the odds? Let me go to the odds.
Caleb Williams, the favorite at plus 550. Quinn Ewers at plus 800. Carson Beck at plus 900. Jaden Daniels plus 900. Cade Klubnik at plus 1100. And Jordan Travis at plus 1200. Marvin Harrison at plus 1,800 is
It's
That's good
enticing.
value.
it's good value.
What's Sam Hartman at? Plus like 25?
Sam Hartman plus 2,200.
Okay.
What you can do, so Bovada has like double chance odds. So you could bet like Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels for plus 280. Or you
Okay.
could do like Caleb Williams or Quinn Ewers at plus 310. So there's some interesting bets there. Like if you think it's Caleb Williams, but if you also want to sprinkle for like someone else, like you do Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 400.
And you combine anybody, or is it prefixed?
They've got a bunch of different ones. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like hundreds.
Don't hate me, but Connor Wegman at plus 2,200.
He's only plus 2,200?
Yep. I'm telling you, he's a freak at quarterback.
Dual threat?
All right, final
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Final
He's a
thing.
freak.
Who do we have? Who do we have winning it all?
Shoot.
This is, I've said it the whole pod. This is Michigan. This year.
I think I'm just going to ride with Austin just because out of the top 4 here and just the probably top 6 contenders we got, I want it to be Michigan out of everybody. So go blue.
Go blue, baby.
Um,
Here comes his Georgia pick. Or is it Alabama?
Roll Tide.
Whoa.
Oh, we won 2-1.
I think it's Alabama. I think everyone's down on them, and they're just gonna like quietly go 11-1 and then win it all.
That one loss is to Texas A&M and Connor Wegman.
No, it's to Texas in week 2. But it'll be so long ago by the time we get to the playoffs. It's like, that loss really wasn't that bad, and it's not going to weigh the same.
Could you imagine the narrative if Bama is 1-1 after week 2?
Well, one of those teams will be,
right.
Well,
Well, it's just like, but like, is the Saban magic over? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the national media picks it up at that point,
yeah.
and rightfully so.
So that's my pick. So 2 picks for Michigan, 1 pick for Bama. And y'all got anything else? College football?
It's
or-
back, baby.
Ready to go.
Rangers
Oh.
are riding a 2-game win streak.
Yeah, they are.
Hold on. Let's make some money for the folks. I have a 4-team parlay.
Hey, how'd it go last week?
I went 3 for 4. UTEP sort of. I mean, they were playing Jacksonville State or whatever, and it was their first ever FBS game.
They were favored by a ridiculous amount, though.
They were favored by 1 point.
Oh, I thought there was way more than that. I was
No,
thinking,
it was pretty much a toss-up, and I was just assuming, like, I don't know, UTEP, they've had decent teams as of late. I think they made a bowl game a year or 2 ago, and Jackson State, this is their first ever FBS game. Like, maybe they're just gonna overthink it or something like that. But they ended up losing by 3, so that was my only pick that lost. Notre Dame game went under. I can't remember the other 2, but they won. So 3 and 4, decent
bad.
start. But are you ready for my week 1 parlay here?
Yes.
We're gonna win this time.
yes.
So week 1 is sort of a crapshoot. You got a lot of huge spreads, and you really don't have much on or like much of a feel for any of these teams, obviously. But so I went with sort of the closer games. We got South Carolina against North Carolina,
That's
and I'm
fine.
gonna go with Spencer Rattler in South Carolina because they probably have the better quarterback over there at North Carolina. Not by that much, but Drake May, he's top 10, 15 draft pick projected.
He's all money line.
Yeah, all money line. But I think South Carolina has the better defense. I mean, they beat Clemson last year too, so they're sort of riding high off of that, and they won their bowl game last year for Spencer Rattler, and really a put up or shut up year for Spencer Rattler. So I think they're going to come out strong here, start the year great, beat an in-state rival. And we got Houston against the University of Texas at San Antonio,
Yep.
UTSA, yeah.
UTSA.
Which they're at home and surprisingly a slight underdog at plus 105, which I thought was a little weird because they have a
they're
decent
plus right
coach.
now?
Yeah, I mean by 5 cents.
ESPN has favored. Oh wait, that's money. Oh, sorry, you're talking money line.
Yeah, I'm talking.
I'm still young to this whole
But
thing.
ESPN has them favored by like what, a point?
1.5, just because
Interesting.
it's at home. Probably.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, it's at home. They have the better coach. They have the better roster overall. They got a lot of transfers. Like they have Tech's quarterback from last year, not the one who started late in the season. I can't remember. I think it's Donovan Wilson. They also got a West Virginia running back transfer in there. So I think overall they just have the better roster. It's at home. They have the better coach in Dana Holgerson. He's been there plenty of times. The Big 12 is no stranger to him. And finally, we're going with the next game, California at North Texas. They're definitely a favorite, but I'm taking California at minus 280, which that's not crazy, but it's not like insane where it's going to lose your value there. And then finally, the final game, Tulane against South Alabama, ranked number 24 Tulane, probably one of the better Group 5 teams.
That Tulane OU game last year was fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was 2 years ago.
Was it? I thought it was last year.
That was Lincoln Riley's last game, or last year.
Was it?
Yeah. They beat USC in the Cotton Bowl, so that's why Tulane is a fun team. They have great overall, like I can't remember the coach's name, but he's a baller. Anyways, Tulane South Alabama at Tulane, number 24. They're only a minus 245 favorite, so it's just a nice little cherry on top. And that overall parlay is 7 plus 742.
Plus
which is
742.
not bad for week 1.
And how many legs is that? Is that 3 legs?
4.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, or you could bet all 4 straight up and win 3 out of 4. If it's like last week.
Depends on how you want to do it.
Depends on how you want to do it, yeah. So, all right, those are Alex's picks for week 1. And if you like this college football discussion, tune in next week because we'll have an announcement about some additional college football coverage here at Making the Call throughout the college football season. So,
On that thing we forgot about.
let's just say you won't want to miss next week's episode. There'll be some news for us to discuss and announce. So
I don't know what he's talking about, Alex. What do you
that's gonna that's gonna do it for all of us here at Making the Call. Thank you, of course, to Austin and Alex for helping me this week preview college football. And the dad joke this week. Have I told you about my friend who just always tells me how much they hate living in Central America?
No.
They say that they're just in a constant state of Missouri.
Yeah.
Austin
like it.
hasn't gotten it yet.
Central America?
Oh, he's thinking like
Central USA.
Oh, constant
United
state of
States.
Missouri. You said Central America.
United States of America. Come on, man.
No, you said Central America.
Yeah, he's thinking like Ecuador, Paraguay.
Yeah, I was like,
All right, I'll give you another
US.
one. My grief counselor died. He's so good, I don't even care.
Yeah, I like that one. That's one of my favorites.
All right, that's going to do it for the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you go try Liquid IV. Use code MTC for 20% off. Subscribe to the Substack. We'll have some new things to roll out on that coming soon. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Hey, Utah, Florida tomorrow.